Suraj's journey, right from the first uncertain steps, which he'll share throughout this episode, through to him gaining momentum, is a really powerful showcase of what's possible with the right guidance and mindset.
With this podcast, we love shining a light on real success stories so you can feel motivated to start your own e-commerce journey. Today, we're excited to share the story of Suraj, a recent joining member of the Dropship Unlocked Masterclass, who's already making great progress with his dropshipping business. If you've ever doubted whether dropshipping will work for you, then I think this episode is going to provide some great clarity around that.
Yep, I really enjoy recording these interview-style episodes as well. It's great to speak with just yourself, James, but it's also amazing when we can bring members onto our podcast as well and hear from particularly new business owners who are just getting started exactly how their journey has been so far. You know, it's one thing hearing from established business owners who are already up and running, but sometimes there can be a bit of a disconnect if you're just getting started and you're listening to this and thinking, well, that's all very well, but they're years down the line. What about someone who's just started? So today's episode is going to be a really good one for anyone who's thinking that and is considering getting started and wants to hear what it might be like on the other side, you know, once they make the leap. So I think it's the best way for us to show people what their life could be like if they decided to take the leap, follow their dreams, start their own business as well. So Suraj's journey, right from the first uncertain steps, which he'll share throughout this episode, through to him gaining momentum, is a really powerful showcase of what's possible with the right guidance and mindset.
Exactly. And that was something that really came through clearly in the interview. A really fantastic interview. So good to speak to Suraj. And you can see the mindset that he's got, which has really set him up for success. As you say, Lewis, we wanted to bring somebody onto the podcast that's only recently joined so people can easily see what's possible to achieve in just a few months. His success is amazing and he's set up for huge success beyond. And some of the insights that he gave into the interview, I think is going to be a real game changer for some people listening in today.
Yeah, pay close attention to how Suraj overcame his initial challenges, but also the uncertainty about whether to make the leap and those pivotal moments in his early dropshipping journey, which could save you a lot of time and money. The conversation's filled with golden nuggets, whether it's about mindset or strategy or just the power of persistence and continuing through with something. So get ready to dive into Suraj's enlightening story, which I believe is going to be a game changer for many of us listening and really start to help you make your mark in online business. There are a couple of things as well that Suraj said towards the end of the interview that shocked both James and I, and I'm pretty sure you're not going to expect too. So it's an interesting one. Make sure you listen right till the end. So with that said, let's now hand you over to the interview.
So Suraj, thank you very much for joining us on the Dropship Unlocked podcast. Great to have you with us today. I know you're actually quite early into the program, so this is going to be a really interesting conversation. And we can't wait to hear a little bit more about your journey, what brought you into the program, how you found it since, and some of those early results that you've seen since joining us as well. So maybe let's start at the beginning. We'll jump back in time a little bit. What were you doing prior to joining Dropship Unlocked, and what was the challenge you were facing that led you to join?
Yeah, so going back to when I first saw the ads, Lewis, on my feed saying, you know, there's this program where you have, you know, the host home turf advantage, and it really appealed to me because maybe about 2 years ago I dabbled in dropshipping a little bit, and I was doing exactly what you said in your ad, which is why I think it spoke to me so much, where I was connecting into AliExpress or Alibaba with some very, very low cost products from China, shipping them. It takes 3 weeks to ship and for anyone to get anything. And we're talking $20, $30 products, very, very low margins, low cost. So I needed huge volume. And to be totally honest, I was getting the revenue. The ads were working. I was getting the sales, but all of my profits and more were being totally eaten up by the ad spend. So I was actually in a loss. So whilst the top line was looking great, I was making £4,000 or £5,000 in sales per month. It was costing me £7,000 a month, both in ads and the cost of goods and buying the products. So I was like, hang on, I don't think that's quite the right way around. So that's where I come from, and I kind of gave it up a little bit, focusing on my day job. And I also have another small business that I run. So dropshipping kind of took a back burner. I wasn't completely put off that experience, but I knew I needed something different, to try something different. And then mysteriously, your ads started showing up on my feed, and they spoke to me a lot. And I thought, yeah, this is exactly what I want to do: build a good, reputable, legitimate business, like a retail business, not just selling some low quality products for a couple of dollars online, you know. And that's where my journey started with DSE.
Yeah, amazing. So great to hear that you had some early experiences, albeit, like you say, not as profitable as you would have hoped with the previous model from China. But great to see that you actually took that through to fruition. Because I mean, if you can make that work and get up and running, then with our model, it should be a lot simpler, right?
And that's what gave me the confidence. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you think, well, I've done it the hard way already. Surely I can make the Home Set Advantage way work. When you did see the ads, what was it that specifically motivated you to join the Dropship Unlocked Masterclass? Because like you mentioned that they spoke to you, but can you talk a little bit more around that? Like, what was it specifically that stood out to you?
Yeah, there was at least three things, Lewis, that I could probably go back to that really spoke to me and made me feel this is the right masterclass, the right community to join and be part of, to level up my own education and also implement things as I go along. The first one was that this was a UK-based person running the course and running the masterclass. And look, no disrespect to our friends and colleagues over the pond in America, but I see a whole ton of ads and courses, and maybe it's a cultural difference, maybe it's just the style and the way that we deal with things and we do business here in the UK. I just couldn't relate 100% to it. And I maybe sometimes got caught into the hype around it and the grandeur of it. And I say this with respect to you, Lewis, but yours seemed just so much more simple and down to earth. And you weren't, sitting in a Lamborghini outside, a mansion about to jump into your swimming pool to say, hey, be like me, and you could have a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or two or three. And I thought, this seems a bit more serious, a bit more grown up, and it wasn't sort of over-promising. It seemed like you were talking complete sense. So the first thing was that you were UK-based. The second thing, like I said, was the fact that you straight away started talking about this home turf advantage, where you don't have to do the whole dropship from China to the UK or the States and have long delivery times, because I knew that was a pain point that I was getting from my customers in my previous dropshipping experience. People were emailing me 4 days later saying, where's my product? And I knew it would still take 3 more weeks after that. And I was like, well, it was more stressful, because then for 3 or 4 weeks, I was having this customer sort of in my ear constantly, and it just wasn't great. And then the third thing was the fact that I was able to have a consultation call or a discovery call with one of your team members, who explained to me a little bit about the community that comes after the course or with the course. And I guess, well, let me go back. Maybe the fourth thing, the case studies. I saw James's interview. I saw a couple of other case studies on the interviews that you had done. I was like, these folks are like me. They're all in the UK. They've all built a UK business, limited business. There's no complications with VAT and tax reasons and selling in dollars. We're selling in pounds. We're selling to UK customers, and that's the market I want. I want to build a UK brand, a UK business. So those 3 or 4 things are really what spoke to me up front.
Amazing. And it is awesome to hear. I mean, it sounds like you've been through a well-trodden path that I also similarly followed. When you go down the AliExpress route, there's cheaper products, but it's all the headaches. And it sounds like you experienced very similar ones to me, where it's the difficulties with customers waiting for their delivery for 3 or 4 weeks. And it's not anywhere near as enjoyable until you run a business, and then you realize, actually, I can give really good service to customers and still dropship products from a supplier. So on that point of sort of enjoying this sort of type of business, how have you found the program so far? Have you enjoyed going through the Dropship Unlocked Masterclass?
Yeah, I've loved it, James. I really like the structure. I'm a man of structure and habit, a creature of habit. So the fact that it's all in a very easy to follow structure and format, like you do step 1, then you do step 2, then you move to step 3. Like you can't go wrong. Follow the formula. Don't try and second guess the system. Trust the system, as they say. And I followed it through. I was able to leverage a little bit of my experience But something I want to call out is I did have to unlearn some of maybe the bad habits that I picked up in my previous dropshipping journey, where I was kind of self-taught, learning as I go, Googling things. And in a good way, the course and the videos really challenged some of the beliefs and the myths I had about how to set an ad campaign up or how to set a store up. And that was a great experience for me, because I was like, okay, I'm going to let go of everything I know, or try to let go of everything I know, and follow this different model, and trust that maybe I didn't quite know what I was doing before. So that was really an enjoyable journey to unlearn and then to relearn a lot of the things that I thought I knew. I probably started off like most people, super excited, dived straight into the course, started getting through the modules, was really excited to build my store. And then where my journey kind of slowed down a little bit, and in the spirit of just transparency and being honest, where it slowed down a little bit was contacting suppliers. Obviously, with my old dropship experience, you didn't have to contact suppliers or speak to anyone. You were just clicking a button to integrate with a store on AliExpress. And so that bit I felt a little bit nervous about, but following the scripts, reading what other people are doing, hearing the success stories, and also just adapting it to suit me as well, where I just didn't feel confident enough. I started off with an email to supplier to get through the gatekeepers, and made my store look super professional before I sent it out to anyone. And then the momentum kind of carried me forward. After you get one supplier, you got another one, and then 2 became 4, and so on. So I was able to then launch my store as a minimum viable store in MVS a little bit later than I would have liked to, but nevertheless, better late than never. Got it launched, started my ad campaign, and started seeing my first sales within about 2 weeks, I would say, of my ads launching. And at that time, I had just a handful of suppliers. I think it was the minimum the course recommends. I think I had like 3 or 4 suppliers, maybe 20, 30 products there. I was like, okay, that not only gave me the confidence to know the model works, I'd proved the concept with a small number of suppliers. And I then, started to contact more suppliers. I actually went to a trade show for the niche that I'm in, that I know nothing about, or knew nothing about up until that point, and had to go to this trade show and talk about my store and talk about the business being relatively new, and that we were looking for new manufacturers and brands to work with. And at that trade show, I think that was the real turning point for me, because I was able to sign up another 10, 11 suppliers over that weekend. And it's things like that which really put that fire in my belly, because it felt much more like a real business than an AliExpress business model, where I was able to go out and meet real people who were running these real businesses, these real brands. Their products were all on display at the trade show. It just felt very, very real. And them seeing my website on their iPad at the stand, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, this looks like a good website. Looks like you know what you're doing." And I'm in my head thinking, "I have no idea what I'm doing." But got some good contacts, good signups, and since then it's taken off. In terms of revenue, it's just crossed over 2 months since the ads started. I think we've just crossed 12 or 13,000 pounds in top line revenue, out of which I would say there's a pretty healthy margin of about 30%, maybe averaging just a little bit lower than 30% at the moment, maybe 28, 27%. But yeah, so far so good. And the question I'm asking myself, and I'm sure a lot of people listening to this who have been through the journey and the course themselves, is why didn't I start earlier? Or what was it really blocking me from contacting the suppliers? Because I would have been another 2 or 3 months ahead of where I am now, had I just gotten out of my own way and started the ads earlier, or started the calls earlier to suppliers. So, no regrets at all, but definitely a message there to anyone who's listening and still in the dabbler mindset, or nervous, maybe not even dabbler mindset, just a little bit nervous and a bit overwhelmed. Start now, because 2-3 months will go by and you'll have wished you had started 2-3 months ago, like I did. So yeah, that's how I'm enjoying the course so far.
Yeah, there's so much to unpack there. That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing, Suraj. It sounds like you are on a great trajectory already.